Greetings from New York. I'd like to thank Switch to Linux and DistroTube channels for all of their help with my ability to use Linux at all. And I love its philosophy. It was in line with the philosophy of non-communication, my version distro. And I hope that others will keep it open source and free to learn. And today's subject, leaders, good and bad. Is it good or bad for you? And the IMC philosophy. Intermind communication. Well, we can be entranced by leaders, and a lot of times leaders are speaking to groups, and groups will tend to gravitate to the lowest common denominator, which is not particularly good. And the speeches will have to be directed to that lowest common denominator. It means it's not going to be what it really should be, and not as uplifting or as helpful. A lot of times, persuasions that a leader will use will create a kind of, especially in politics, will create a kind of us-them kind of picture. And that's not in keeping with intermind communication, because we're all tied together. We're entangled. And as human beings, we're not in the physics sense, perhaps, but certainly in the emotional sense. The effect we have on each other very much commingled. So that's the bad side of leadership. I see groups that get together and we have to have a leader, even in spiritual circles, which I think is the religious approach to spirituality, which I'm not entirely a fan of. It's the first thing they want to do. They form a church and they want someone to be their leader. Something really lazy about that. Intermind communication philosophy is help yourself. And that doesn't mean you can't get help from other people or help other people. Certainly that's part of what you do. But, that means you're growing. In what capacities you're growing. Good leaders help people to grow in terms of their forms of empathy, which are part of us that can grow. And it's not, inbuilt. It's learned. So creative empathy, objective empathy, and compassionate empathy give us, in the order again, the virtue of art, the virtue of truth, and the virtue of goodness. And that, as long as you're having those kind of communications within yourself and beyond yourself, you create higher degrees of trust. And when you don't have those things, that's a problem. But leaders should be teachers. and they should be enablers of people being able to think for themselves and create for themselves, work together in an open source way with all of their helpful views, the way Linux does. And so that's the philosophy of IMC, and to work together. And leaders should be a teacher, but only insofar as to help people to help themselves. And I'm talking about spiritual things, I mean, which to me is things that help us be more virtuous, to attain those virtues that I mentioned. And part of that is also learning to realize that your imagination is where you get your very sense of self, and also your sense of a higher power, that which is able to see your imaginings, to observe your timeline, your past, present, and future picture of your life, and to because it's taking the reins of empathy, the reins of your imagination, and applying empathy and helping with that. You can create memories. It always is in a space where you have the potential to grow. Getting out of the trap of language is important in leadership, in my opinion. Language can be deceiving and limiting, just as leaders can be if you're not learning how to think, if they're not teaching you how to think, but rather what to think. That's the bad leader, teaching you what to think, but how. Because scientists to me are the greatest of mystics, because they approach the mystery of life in a way that inspires them to grow in their virtues. And they are very humble people. Humility is essential, being a good leader, and empathy essential to a good leader. The teaching aspect, is not only teach people how to think more creatively, to imagine themselves as the creator of their imagination, which is what we mistake for reality, oftentimes, or not sufficiently. So that power that you have in you is your creative self, your inner artist. It is a part of you that enjoys your life story, no matter what. You would enjoy a movie. And it always calls out to you, as a good leader should. Be the hero of love in your soul. No, the bad leader says, I'll be your hero. Hello? Be your own hero. Work with other heroes of love. Don't just follow someone blindly. And again, back to Linux, it can free you from corporate power, which tries to lead you in a bad direction, and a greedy one, and very nosy, you know, selling your information. I like the presentations of channels DistroTube and Switch to Linux a lot. They do talk about the philosophy of the greatness of it. And I appreciate that. I work at that. But to be honest, I more or less sold my soul to Google. But not to Microsoft. If I'm going to sell my soul in my privacy, I'd rather just be with one corporation, you know, not a dozen. They offer some benefits on, which is fine. But and great, I really appreciate it. But maybe we need to protect their privacy. Why? Because when you don't, people use your information, you know, possibly against you. You know, and in twisted ways, or ways that are just designed to push products on you that you don't need. Linux, beautiful. I would take any of those Linux channel creators over a lot of the people that I see going to vote. Because they get the philosophy. I think they would be much more helpful to everyone. The greatest, most spiritual people may be scientists. Now, I mentioned ego transcendence slightly. Well, love is self-transcendent. Yeah, it just is. It gets you out of just your self-concern and your personal views. Don't hit your mind. But there are also techniques in IME that are also important, which I would say are mindfulness practices. That helps you get outside of language, speeches, and leaders who use it can be very manipulative and against your own personal growth. Life happens. You didn't hear that. Anyway, yeah, I definitely have 3 feet to live in a clay feet world. But you can't get out of your. You need to be able to get above the drama in your life. You know, manipulative forces that and perceptions that keep you locked into drama. You know, a lot of times we can't even quiet our mind because we're thinking about what to do. That needs to have a rest and something that undoes the language influence on our brains. Take us back to the infant mind. A good leader should know about that. I'd rather vote for a scientist. I'd rather be led by a scientist. I'm going to be led. They're the best mystics around. Because they don't just look at a mystery and go, it's inspiration for them to study it, understand what they can. And one thing you can bet is that these practices will bring you out of your comfort zone to some degree. But it's being done in a compassionate, empathetic way, then that's a gradual shift and expands your comfort zone. Yeah. So you'll find that the sicker the mind, the more it's put off by objective views, passionate views, expanded compassion, non-tribalistic compassion, and creativity. So the three approaches that are non-language that get you in touch with the infant mind is the use of sound, let's put it this way, play, focus, and expression in regard to your needs, how you perceive them. And these exercises, using sound and breath, focus, are very powerful. And they were mentioned in, the basic yogas from the Vedas involve the use of sound or mantra yoga, the use of focus or dhyana yoga, and the use of breath, which the use of your breath is nothing closer to your feelings than your breath. Combining your breath in a way in which you express need, but needs that you feel, not needs that you imagine from a language perspective. It's the raw senses and feelings that you have without words. And the use of mantra yoga, well, it's a form of creative mantra yoga that you see in Pentecostal circles, actually. Those may not be languages, but when you play with sound and it's not your language, you're getting outside of language and you're going to the infinite mind. That helps with what Zen calls the monkey mind. Helps a lot. You can sing those sounds or say those sounds, and that will also take you to the infinite mind. And focus. The mindfulness of your feelings and your needs, just paying attention to your sensations, to that which is within you, and not concepts. So focus is very helpful to get you to the infinite mind. In fact, it should be taught by good leaders that getting in touch with the infinite mind is a way of opening yourself to change, to a state in which you're getting away from the road, getting into the roads less traveled. best conditioned language side to get you in touch with the origins of these empathies, the expression of your feelings and needs, with a deep breath and expression. That need to express your needs and so on evolves into a compassion, which makes it safe. It helps a person feel safe to express their needs. And the use of focus helps you to be aware of your needs and your feelings so that you can, what that evolves into is objectivity. Because if you can't focus, you can't be objective. So you have to filter things out that are non-essentials. Focus. So it evolves into objectivity through social influences. And creative empathy, creativity evolves from the ability to be at play. Creativity creates the play, as in baseball, football, and creating experiences for yourself, which can transform how you remember things into something better, or with a sense of comfort, panic. So a good leader, I think, also is aware of these things. I would like to choose as a good leader people who do brain research. Yeah. So, and your brain, it knows what they've done studies. It knows what your decision was before you were aware. That decision. Interesting. So your brain is kind of your autopilot, just rationally speaking. There could be more to all these things. And we can practice in that way. In fact, a good leader should aim at understanding more, grasping ultimate reality, and understanding the mystery that it holds. And that can be done by personifying and inner-mind communication. The power that you have over your own imagination and your own experience. And that power over your imagination, science. It's not just what you imagine to be true. What's out. And you have to if you want to get beyond just your imagination, or improve, let's say improve your imagination in a way that fits closer to ultimate objectivity, the ultimate objective truth, what ties everything together. It's perfectly permissible. You could be an atheist and you'll have a personification of that absolute truth or your brain and have a dialogue. It's saying, now the guy's gone crazy. No. This is a picture of what a good leader is, and a bad leader is somebody who wants to think for you. And we have a lot of that in our education system. Teaching kids what to think is rather boring and inspiring. Teaching them how to think? That's very interesting. Get them to love to do that. they're there for life. And then again, with Linux, you have to learn. You're forced to learn a little bit, and to grow your trust in the ability of human beings to help one another without a strong profit motivation. As the Bible says, don't muzzle the ox that treads your grain. So do make donations to these guys. They're creating things for you. Not against trade. I'm not saying that. It's at the core of everything. And that's the personification of yourself as a social institutional kind of element. Your trading partner. And that trading partner in society needs to be educated by other institutions that promote those forms of empathy that I mentioned. Creative empathy from the media, objective empathy from government property, and extended family organizations and take more of their aim is compassion. All of these institutions need to have their own voice and be communicating with trade or business institution. And all trading partners need to be honored in your concept of business. Big business is just a group of trading partners working together, but they shouldn't be allowed to push out the freedom, its freedom to create your own trade. It's individuals, like a guy with a family, especially, just the smallest of businesses. I mean, he's got the family to support. I'm not mentioning the fact that the women, is the same. What they do in trade is traditionally, of course, is raising the kids and so on, and definitely having them. But bless their hearts. Mm-hmm. But apologize to the ladies and put it that way. They're the smallest of businesses as well, the mother and the father. They're a kind of little society. But even the individual person, male or female, is a trading partner. And perhaps the core element, trade. The menu, even smaller than family business, the individual trading partners, perhaps the smallest business, you don't have a family. So that might actually be the smallest businesses in a sense. But most people are existing in some kind of family. Yeah. So good leaders should teach all that. Bad leaders don't. Bad leaders want you to let them be in total control of your life for your benefit. Linux philosophy, not like that. Yeah, I should include that in the title of this. Yeah. So anyway, I'd like to thank everybody again for making this all possible. Big Linux, Itch to Linux, DistroTube, and all the other Linux creators on the channels, and all the educational videos, which I have learned so much. And thanks to you too. Thanks to Google for this opportunity. And as I say at the end of my videos, the word that means honoring, marvelous, wonderful, uh, mysterious, and loving potentiality and presence from one to another. It's the greeting used in India. Namaste. So all that's wonderful, loving, and potentially definitely one with the other. Would like to honor the same in you. Namaste. And good day.